Hello, everyone. How are you doing on this Wednesday evening? It is 7 o'clock on the East Coast. So, I always like to tell you what date it is, like you don't know, but I'm telling you anyway. It is February the 26th. And guess what? This is the last Wednesday of February, the month of love. And we've had such a good time talking about love in all facets and stages. And tonight, we're coming back with another conversation about love and finances because we couldn't get it all done. It was so juicy. We have a lot to say, so we're going to finally get through it tonight. And guess what we always do? Did I tell you I was? I'm Dr. Paula Obi, and you've tuned into the Power of Transformation broadcast. And let me tell you what we do. We always tag our friends, and we always call them if we have a moment and send them a text. And we just tell them, go ahead and join Dr. Paula Obi for the Power of Transformation. She's going to be talking with Noel Ramos about love and finances, and you don't want to miss it. And I'm going to do the same thing. We'll see you soon. Okay. Well, hello. I'm glad you came back because we have some more exciting conversation. And I will tell you, thank you for all your feedback regarding the shows about love this month. And even last month, we were talking about finances. Thank you for your feedback because love and finances is a really big deal. It really is. And I'm just learning a lot. And, we have our financial guru here to help us out because she knows everything about love and finances. So let's welcome our special guest, who is certainly no stranger. Let's welcome Noel Ramos.
Ooh, those are big shoes to fill. You said everything. I'm not sure about all that now, Miss Paula.
Well, I will tell you, I feel pretty good that you do, and what you don't know, you know how to go find it. You're like me. You're like, let me go research. And you're the best researcher in the world. I mean, you can Google some stuff so fast. I'm like, how in the world she do that? So I trust your judgment. You dropped some really good nuggets, and we've done some great sharing. And people have been really telling me, they enjoyed and sharing with their family and friends, tagging them and everything.
That's good. That's good to hear that, what we talk about, it matters. It means something. It's important. And, if you knew the secret, would you keep it to yourself?
No.
Secret of life? No, you would share it with everybody you loved, right?
Yes, and you would share it in a way. Thank you for saying that. You would share it in a way in which you're able to embrace it. What I do love about us is we're not like beating people up side the head about anything. We're really talking about a loving relationship, which I think that may be the difference between our show and other conversations, because we are really sprinkling it with a lot of love. We're direct and you're telling the truth, but there's lots of love.
I mean, I agree. When we're telling our audience this stuff, it's coming out of a place of love. And it's because we've been there, we've done it. And I know when I was going through it, I didn't want to get beat up about it. I wanted somebody to be there to sometimes just listen. I don't even want your opinion. I kind of just want you to listen and just be there for me. And so this is what we want to be able to provide, is just be there for you and kind of maybe nudge you along a little bit, because sometimes we need that nudge.
We do, and we need a wholesome environment because this is a very, very, very important topic that impacts everyone that I know.
You and me both.
Everyone
both of us probably still to this day.
Absolutely. And some of us are wearing the scars from yesterday, but we're going to, put that to the side. We're going to use yesterday as a stepping stone for today and tomorrow, and learn some new, I don't want to say habits, just get some new knowledge and try something that's going to help us. Right, Noel?
Yep. Learn new habits, learn your lesson from the past, and don't beat yourself up, and let's keep keep the train moving.
Let's keep it moving and be excited about that $20 that you're saving. That's important.
Yeah, I'm always excited. It's my $20. I worked
My
hard.
$20. Yes. So we have to celebrate the wins. So we're gonna, introduce some of our, talk about some of our own personal stories, but we definitely want to really get into the meat of the matter because we know you have a great, great conversation for us tonight. So let's do it, Noel. Look, she took a deep breath, y'all.
Let's get in it. Last week we had we got through halfway through this presentation last week. We talked about our budgeting and working with your partner and kind of getting to know each other, because this is the beginning stages of a relationship. Or even if you maybe have to revisit this after being with somebody for a while, it's okay. This is why we're here. We want to help you get through maybe the more difficult conversations, right, Paula?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I will tell you, every conversation about finances, that's a difficult conversation. So let's just place it to the forefront. You gave me a whole week to think about it. That's probably a topic that's really difficult for everybody to really be totally honest about. Let's just get real and just lay it out on the table. So you're saying transparency. You're like, oh my God, do I want to tell you everything? If you want the relationship to be healthy, maybe the answer is you need to tell the truth.
And it might hurt and it might sting and you might feel it's a little bit embarrassing. But once again, like Paula said, if you want it to be healthy, your relationship, you have to be transparent. You cannot hide your debt, because you don't know if your partner's gonna not be upset. They're gonna be upset if you keep it from them, for sure, 100%. But maybe your partner has a different idea of how to approach it. Maybe they have something an idea you haven't thought of, and it's gonna lift that burden off of your shoulders.
Right. And some of the things that we talked about that are so important, once you get that transparency and you know the truth and it sets you free, then you're able to start thinking about developing a plan together. You need a plan together, you know. Okay, so you've had debt. Okay, we've had this. Okay, we've had the other. Let's start today, and that's what what we're saying. And then all of the other, like this third question, should you combine or keep that separate? Then the wisdom has to step in.
Right. And I tell our couples, let's pray on this first, because you don't know. You got to pray on it, right? You don't know if your partner's going to want to take on that additional debt. You don't know how they're going to react. That's why you have to be transparent in the beginning, because these are some of the things you're going to face. Is, do we combine them or do we keep them separate? Is it more beneficial? What is more beneficial in our situation? It's not what somebody else think or somebody else did. What's the key benefit for our situation?
For our situation. And I think if you say you love me and you care about what happens to me, and if I say I love you and I care about what happens to you, right, managing this part is going to bring us closer. Now, it might, delay some things, but it might give us an opportunity to really strengthen some areas before we make bigger decisions that are more responsible. But it will at least give me an opportunity to evaluate what's really going on and not be blindsided. That's not cool.
Right. And this is a great way to see how your partner is going to react. Maybe see a different side of them and see if it's a side that you want to continue with, or to see if, that's something you just don't like the way they react. And that's not something you want to be around.
Right. Because one thing about financials, acuity, is the fact that we need it. And if somebody's not going to be open to the discussion, what does that mean to the maturity level? It's a hard call, but you can then find the time to pray again.
Exactly.
Pray again and really move forward in a more mature way. I think it's important.
Right. And I think this next one is kind of a tough one as well. It's avoiding any new unnecessary debt. And if that calls for getting a second job, a side hustle, maybe not spending as much, tightening up that belt, that's going to be a little rough for some folks, because they're not used to that. They're used to just spending and getting what they want. They might be a little spoiled in their ways, or maybe that's all they knew. And maybe, swiping that credit card was the only way they could survive. But now you have a partner.
Absolutely. And what I love about the conversation that you and I are having right now is that this is not new. We didn't invent all of these solutions. These
No.
solutions actually are based on really just best practices. So we all have a background, we all have habits, we all have things that support our, situation that we're right now. What we're trying to do is find a method so that we can work together. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
with everything out on the table, we can talk. We should be able to talk. Then we'll talk about or discuss what changes need to be made. That's a hard one because
Hmm.
if you're going to cut up all the credit cards, and I thought about it, we're not just talking about debt, we also talk about liabilities. And there are other liabilities in addition to debt, you know.
Right.
So I thought about my 80-some-year-old grandmother who had a little side hustle. If she can have a little side hustle in 85 years of age, and no, you can,
What's your
possibly.
excuse?
What's her excuse? She'd make her little fried pies and her little pecan during Christmas
Ooh.
and all of her desserts, and that was her little hustle. You
Right.
know, so if we're younger than that, perhaps we need to get off the couch or get off of
Hmm.
our phones and consider what's another way for me to get some money into this whole equation to have a better financial future. That's what I'm thinking.
You're spot on, because I think that's the toughest situation. You're just so used to being content and being where you're at. And so, getting your butt off the couch is not always an easy thing to accomplish.
It's not. And the thing about, where we are right now in the world, you could actually make money from your phone, so you can
This
be
is
sitting
true.
on your couch. you know,
You can sit on your couch. Never mind, I take that back. Sit your butt back on the couch and just get your laptop out and find a side hustle.
yeah, today, you have so many options today. What we have to do is make the agreement and the commitment, to say, I'm done with let's do the work. Let's put in the
Yes.
work. There you go. Loving
And
it.
this is a good scripture here, Proverbs 22:7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is the slave to the lender.
Whew, I would tell you, Proverbs is actually full of a lot of wisdom. This one hits home, and people forget about this one, but it hits home, and it tells you that Solomon was already giving us some advice as to what we should be and what we can aspire to, which is really great. I love it. Handling debt together.
Yes. All right. So
So I
we
do I
want
do have a question.
shoot.
What what response would someone have if you say, I don't want to do it together? I'm not used to working with anyone. I'm just used to them taking care of everything.
I'm gonna ask you, why are you in a relationship then?
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I mean, the whole point of being a relationship is to share your life with someone else, the good and the bad. So this is
Yeah.
not the prettiest situation, but we need to share it. And if you want, and that's one of those things, again, is where it depends on the couple. If they want to keep their finances separate, it's worrisome. But if that's the way they want to go, then that works best for their situation and that makes them happy, then so be it. Who am I to tell you you have to combine them?
Right, right, right. So again, you're evaluating the situation based on your needs, your habits, and what you commit to. I have certain criteria that are must haves. And whenever I abandoned them in the past, I was somewhere I didn't need to be. So those must haves, and they have to be discussed. So, okay, let's move on because I'll get stuck on there.
We want to set goals as a team. You can't be one sided. Like we mentioned last week, you got to have those budget meetings together, because you're going to have one person who might resent the other person because they feel they're the ones that's dictating all the rules and the money and holding the purse strings and in control of everything. And that might not fly well with the other person. They're going to be resentful. So it's good to do these things together. And you want to make sure that you set those short term and those long term goals. Let's start setting those short term goals, because then we get them done. And then that's emotional high, right? This is
Yeah,
all
it makes
about
yeah,
emotions.
yeah, yeah. It gives you something to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you
And
something
I don't know about you. I like scratching stuff off of a list. Like sometimes if I do something, I'll write it on the list just so I can scratch it off.
I have a mental approach to it. I'll be like, done. And then just keep it moving,
I'm like,
done.
it wasn't on my list, but I'm going to write it so I can scratch it off because I got
Right.
it done in the day.
And I think it's so important, even at this phase in my life, I'm moving into a new phase. So this phase in my life is really important that I start scratching some things off with a zero balance. That's key for moving forward. But I can tell you in the past, when I would reach a goal and I had to reach it by myself because the other person wasn't helping me, I wasn't the happiest of the happiest with that. So
Mhm.
let's try to look at our short term versus long term goals again together.
Right. Because, like I said, it's an emotional journey. And if you don't start getting some of those short term goals done, those long term goals are going to look pretty bleak and you're not going to want to even attempt them because you can't get your short term goals done. And, you know, it gives you momentum. You're like, yes,
It,
I'm getting it
it
done.
does.
I'm getting it
It really
done.
does. It
Mental.
really does. It
You
really
keep it
does.
going.
It stimulates you. It stimulates you, and then your monthly conversations start to change. Where we are with this, done. Yes.
Right. And you start seeing their changes and you start seeing attitude adjustments. And it's like, okay, we're going to get out of this and we're going to get out of this together.
Together.
Mhm.
Saving for a house, retirement vacations, all of those are goals. You can start looking into ways
Absolutely.
to really get to that place. If that is your goal.
I'm always going to suggest you save for that vacation. Put it in your budget to save for a vacation. All work and no play is just wrong.
Tell me about it. I will tell you, you need to say it more than once. Save for that vacation. You deserve it. You work, 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 work,
Mhm.
and you need time to relax. Me, I will be at the beach. You know,
Right.
listen to the sounds of the ocean. And I want to be able to save up for it so that I don't have to max out that credit card
Right.
just to
I
take.
think we talked about this after the show, Polly, last week. Where going to the beach. It may not have been the most expensive because we packed that cooler full of sandwiches and drinks and snacks. But we had a nice little vacation of it, even if it was
Yes.
for just a day. If it's something that's what we could afford, that's what we did as a family. We all packed up, got our blankets, got everything, and we just picnicked it out in the at the beach, and that was fun.
And enjoyed it. Absolutely. And then if you needed to save for that one meal, at the seafood place, then you save for it.
Right. Another topic I really want to stress on is retirement.
Oh yeah.
100% you're going to retire. I see a lot of couples where if they have children, like, well, I want to put some money aside for my children, or, I want to do this, I want to do that. Your children are going to be grown. They're going to have their own jobs. They're going to have their own lives. You 100% need to make sure you take care of yourself first. It's vital, no matter what age, you start saving for retirement.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I don't care if you're 50, if you haven't started, start it now. 50, 60, you need to start, because I've seen having it, my own family trying to live off of Social Security. It's tight.
Yeah, it is. It's tight, especially if you haven't prepared.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you haven't prepared. So a lot of job opportunity we will give you an opportunity to discuss retirement. You just have to put your mind towards it and get the plan. I thought about this today, and I guess we're always in sync though, Noel. I thought about someone working 20 and 25 years and moving towards that 30 years, and they want to retire and they can't.
Right.
And again, some people have so much fire in their bones until retirement is not healthy for them. They're going to go back to work anyway, but it's not because they have to. It's because they just don't like sitting around. But the person who can't afford to retire and they're working, that's got to be hard for
Right.
them.
Right, I agree. And there's different options you can choose for with retirement because when you hit a certain age, you want to start looking at preserving your money, preserving that retirement. So that's when you get with your financial person, or you start researching and start looking at your goals differently. When you were younger, it's squirrel it away, save, 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 save. Let let that investment be risky because you have time to weather the ups and the downs, right? You have time to weather that storm. So when you start hitting around 50, 45, 50, okay, I need to make sure I preserve this retirement. I need to not take as much risk. Now we're in the let's preserve stage. And there's different products and options out there that you can research that might fit best for.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And that's important. You just said the key. You just said the key. Where you are in your stage of life is going to impact the retirement planning decisions that you make. That's
Absolutely. Yep.
important.
There's not one same old cookie cutter for everyone.
Absolutely. Love it. I'm absolutely on it. Yes. And then there's some jobs who actually force you to be in a retirement plan.
Ah,
And
yes.
yeah. So it's mandatory, which is good because you may not do it on your own. And then you could actually supplement it with an additional retirement plan as
Oh,
well.
I agree. Have something inside of your employer, and guess what? You can have something as well outside
Outside.
of your employer. So you can
Yeah.
have two different retirement accounts. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, great. I'm loving the vacation and retirement conversation and saving for a house. Now, I know that everybody doesn't have purchasing a house as a goal, but some do. So we always want to talk about if this is your goal. Let's talk about how to set, some sincere financial goals in order to be successful for buying a house.
Right. I agree. And next one is investing together for the future. That's huge. You need to
Yeah.
have we everything, we keep talking about doing things together as a team. Even investing, whether it's investing in, like you said, a home or investing in your retirement, you need to make sure that is one thing. If you're investing for retirement, have two separate accounts. That's the one thing I'm going to tell you, to have two separate ones, because now you can save double as much. And I don't care if one person is a stay-at-home person, as long as one person is making that earned income, you can
Mm-hmm.
contribute
Mm-hmm.
into
Mm-hmm.
both retirement plans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's no excuse, that goes back to the budget. Let's see what our budget is. There's no excuse for you to do one and not for the other. It's important that you make sure you get yourself both ready for retirement.
And
Well,
just
now
look at
let's go in tax deferred.
absolutely. And you're looking out for each other at this particular point.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you're looking out for you as a whole, but you're looking out for each other. Hope that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. Next one is accountability. If you mess up, you messed up. Like we said, learn from your lessons and keep it moving. But make
Stepping
sure you
stone.
know where you messed up and don't do it again.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to knowing that there is no scenario that has not been, utilized in the past. In other words, you didn't invent those problems.
Right.
Those are not new problems, and we
Mhm.
can we can definitely give you some solutions because you didn't invent that problem. You just need to
Right. And
figure
it's
it
not
out.
something you beat yourself up over, but it's not something we want you to just gloss over to, like, oh, well, I messed up. You need to show some kind of remorse. Okay, well, I know this is what I did. Let's come up with a remedy so that it doesn't happen. Try not to happen again.
Right. So you want to learn from that situation so that you won't repeat it in the future. I'm
Excellent.
definitely on your side on this one.
And
And so,
hugely celebrate your wins. Like I said, this is an emotional journey. If you don't celebrate your wins, it's not going to mean as much to you.
yes, yes, yes. And I think the celebration part needs to come after the win and not before. You know what I'm saying?
Good
Sometimes
observation.
we
Good
just
point.
celebrate. Like, wait. We're not there yet. We actually need the money that you're spending for celebrating. We need to, invest it, and then we'll celebrate once we get there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
we
say
got
let's
to wait.
celebrate, buy ourselves a new car. Let's celebrate and recognize it, and maybe go to a nice dinner.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
We're always on the same page. Okay, very good.
And a goal without a plan, it's just a wish.
Just a wish.
Just a
Mhm.
wish.
Let that sink in for a second.
Yeah.
However, the good news is you have the ability, like everyone else, to develop a goal or goals and
Yeah.
develop a plan or plans. This is not anything that is beyond your reach.
I agree. Yeah, I love that you said that. You need to make sure you're doing attainable goals as
Okay.
well.
Mm-hmm,
Yes, I
mm-hmm.
love that.
Yeah. All right.
Another huge thing is protecting each other with insurance. I'm going to ask you, Paul, do you put insurance on your car?
Oh yeah.
Do you might or may not, but you have insurance on your cell phone?
No.
Okay, well, I do. I drop my phone a lot though.
Oh, I hadn't thought about insurance. I did, but I just bought a new one. I hadn't thought about it being on the phone. I guess I probably needed it.
Yeah. Thanks for your honesty. Okay, do you have house insurance?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So we protect all these inanimate things, our house, our car, my cell phone. Why wouldn't we make sure we insure ourselves?
Drop the mic. Drop the mic. That is a great question. Why would we not want to insure ourselves? Great question.
We don't know what tomorrow brings. And if
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow brings an unfortunate demise, wouldn't you feel a lot happier if you knew your significant other was not having to stress about, am I going to be able to pay the mortgage? Am I going to be able to pay the car or the insurance or any feed our children? Because you love them so much to make sure that you insured yourself, you left them with love.
That's a great conversation, Noel. And I think this is something that we have to understand that we can't live without.
Right.
And we must think about it. It's again, a lot of us we don't know what tomorrow holds, but at least if we have a plan and we're protected, our loved ones won't have to suffer. And that's a big deal to think about them and say, I don't want you to have to suffer. That's great.
Right. And some folks, it's a scam. They don't pay out. I've seen it pay out. Unfortunately, I've had to call because something has happened. I've had it where a young mother, her son passed away, and I had to make sure I got all the things together, and it paid out. And that mother was happy because she had time to be able to grieve her son's loss. That's
Yeah.
something a parent should not have to do, but she was able to have that policy and take the time she needed to be able to grieve that process.
Yes. And I think I shared with you in our series last month that I had a family member whose policy had just elapsed, just a few couple of months before he died suddenly. And I remember sitting at the calling the insurance company saying to myself, oh my God, why didn't we know? We have these millions of questions afterwards, and it would have been enough to take care of a lot of things, but he wasn't working and nobody was paying attention, or he wasn't talking about it, we weren't talking about it. So these are tough conversations that we need to think about, and he was in a difficult situation. And thank you for reminding me of that. It's love. We have to show love this way. This is a way of showing love as well.
Right.
Thanks for reminding me.
And you need to make sure you're choosing what is right for you and your family. We had the discussion briefly, last month, term versus permanent. And if we can catch you when you're in good health, not after you've had all these health issues, that's not the best time to start looking for life insurance. We need to catch you early. We need to catch you when you're a little bit younger. We need to catch you when it's good, when you're in decent shape, because that's when it's going to be cheaper for you. We
Right,
can get you a $500,000 policy between 30 and $40 a
right,
month,
right, right. Which is
sometimes less
doable.
depending on your age. Yeah.
And yes, absolutely. Yes, yes, and yes. I love it. And we have a show in January where we spend a lot of time on that. So if folks want to go back and look at our January series, they're going to get a lot of useful information, because I can give you story after story after story regarding those folks who were prepared and how their lives were able to continue because their loved one prepared for them.
Right.
And then I can give you another type of story when they weren't prepared. So this is great.
Right. Yeah. And you want to make sure you're looking to health and disability. You want to make sure you're looking in those kinds of insurance. Health insurance, you never know what's going to go awry. Health
Right.
insurance is always something good to have, regardless.
Mhm.
So you need to make sure you try to have that.
Yes, yes.
And
And all
the
of these things have to be paid for,
You
right?
might have to, yeah. And it's unfortunate because sometimes it's like, okay, I don't have enough money for the end of the month for all these bills. And usually, unfortunately, life insurance sometimes is the one they feel they're going to go without, when it
Right.
should have been, your Netflix or Hulu that you shouldn't have paid that month.
Right. Right, right. So this is serious, folks. Let's sit down and let's think about this particular slide. Thank you, Noel. Thank you for
Sorry,
reminding
I
me.
skipped ahead.
Mhm. No, you're fine. You're fine. You That was great. Great, great.
So the next one I want to talk about is estate planning and wills. Estate planning, it's huge if it's something, it's good to start that early because having estate planning, it avoids probates, which wills can, if wills are contested or if wills aren't done correctly, it passes, it can avoid probate. And so a trust, it allows your assets go directly to your beneficiaries without having to go through the probate. It saves you time, it saves you legal fees. It's just an all around, if you can do it, better option.
Okay, okay. It's really funny that you said contesting the will and all of that. Unless you're in that particular place, you don't understand what it feels like. So
Right.
having the trust to protect you from that episode, I think that's great. We need to talk a little bit more about how that can happen
I
in
agree.
our series, maybe next month. We'll just talk about that.
Yeah, and so like unlike a will, it keeps your financial affairs, it keeps them private.
Okay.
Yep, and it protects your assets. Certain kind of trust, it can help you shield from creditors. It can help you shield you from lawsuits and even at long-term care costs. So if you have your assets in a trust long enough, certain people cannot touch it. It's your money. It's not, they can't touch it.
Okay, great. Yes, yes, yes. We want to delve a little bit more into that and devote a lot of attention to it. I feel like that's needed. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you got to be careful whenever you put a minor as your beneficiary because we've spoken about that last month where minors, if something was to happen to you and they're still a minor, they may not be able to touch that money until they're of age.
Right, right. Good point. Good point. Excellent.
Last one's all you.
Oh yeah, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Proverbs 27:12. Oh my God, could I ever stand on that and just talk about it again? We sometimes forget that the financial conversations really do come from the Word of God. He also wants us to, look at finances in a certain way. So
Mhm.
I love it that we were able to go point back to the biblical reference because that's important to me. It's important to a lot of people because they'll sometimes blow it off and say that's not as important. And I'm a Christian, that's not as important. But as a Christian, you might want to go back and read Proverbs because I think it might be more important than you think, especially when he says count up the cost.
I agree.
Okay, building wealth together. This one I feel like I need to, like one of those sound bites or something.
Oh, I know. So, I could probably do a whole seminar or a whole show on just the power of compounding investments and the compounding interest and how it works. I think we did a little bit last month, but you've heard that saying, "Make your money work for you," right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's exactly what we're talking about.
And look at the smile on my face because you see what happens when we're not talking about debt anymore. We're talking about making it, work for us, and we start smiling. But we need to know how, and that's why we're going to break all of these components down. We're doing an overview into monthly sessions. I want to know more. We still need the counseling sessions with you, and in the future with me. But we need more information to make great decisions. So I'm going to be quiet. The power of compound investments. Okay, very good.
No, yeah, I agree. And the next one is just maximizing your retirement contribution. For this year, 2025, you can contribute for an annual contribution of 7,000 into a Roth. And if you're 50 years and older, you can do what they call a catch-up contribution where you can do 8,000 per year. That's huge. And mind you, Roth is after tax money, so now it's growing tax free. And so when you go to age of retirement, guess what you're doing? You're taking it out tax free because you've already paid the taxes on it whenever you put it in to begin with.
That's sweet. That's very nice. We need to know more. We don't talk about this enough in my neck of the woods. We just do not.
Oh, and we all love, paying Uncle Sam, right? Hence my sarcasm.
That's okay. That's a nice little joke. Very good though.
Yep. And we talked about this. If you need to get side hustle, get that side hustle. You talked about your 85-year-old granny. She was making some pies on the side.
He could make a mean, she used to do those apple turnovers and those peach turnovers and those
Did you
sweet
learn how to
potato.
do that? I am there.
Yes. And what people don't realize, okay, this is off the subject. Okay, this is free. Uh, towards the end of her life, when she was filling those orders, she was not actually making the desserts. It was me.
Oh,
But she would
I'll be
sit and tell
knocking
me
on
what
your
to
door.
do. Well, that's been a while. And she would, there are parts of it I will allow her to do, but she was getting up in age. And so I'd go and I'd help her, but pretty much she made me take over.
Oh
Um,
man, that
and
is my. It's funny you say that because my grandmother used to do apple turnovers. That's why I love them as well. I
she would
grew up
do
eating
sweet potato pie. Oh my God. That's another show. But
them.
it
That sounds
was
true.
her hustle. And I guess and I love it that you keep reminding us of the opportunity to have multiple incomes,
Hmm.
because a lot of folks will say I can't, but today there are a lot of reasons, there are a lot of ways. I mean, I get something every day. I've had a side hustle forever, and someone says, well, why don't you go purchase so and so? I said, because my side hustle, I'll say I need to pay my car note, and my side hustle will say, okay, do it this way. We can pay car note. That's my joke. It can pay my bills.
Right.
That's what it does. I tell it what I need, and then I can, make it pay my bills. So I like that attitude about creating it. If think about it. If you don't have one, just contemplate that.
Yeah. Don't have to be a lot. It just has to be enough for you.
Enough for you. There you go.
Hmm.
Now you said this last month, leaving a financial legacy for the family. Boy, that hit me hard.
Hmm.
Do you want to leave a financial legacy for your family? Would be the biggest question.
It's going to be different, I think, for everyone. It just depends. Like for me, it warms my heart knowing that I can leave a financial legacy differently than what has been left for me and my family. But learning this and, embracing different thought process where let me just work hard and save, and that's just the end of it. And I'm just going to keep working every day, paycheck to paycheck. It's good to know something different. And you can learn how, going back to the top section where compounding interest and compounding investments, how that can help you change your financial legacy. So I know what I'm striving for when I get older, and I plan to hopefully, if things go well, have a legacy to leave behind to our son.
And that's also scriptural as well. And what's really, really, really cool about that is it gives you a great feeling of security to know that I'm looking out for my future. This is my namesake. I'm looking out for him. I'm looking out for her or them. I think
Mhm.
that's a great goal. And if there's any way that we could talk about that in great detail moving forward, because it looks differently, for different people, we want to just say it's important. Why not? Let's try it.
Right.
Have a goal.
Agree.
Hmm. Hmm.
I
So the
love this
best.
What Buffett quote.
Yes, the best investment you can make is in yourself, Warren Buffett. Now, someone told me one time that, and I think I've heard it, that there comes a time when you have to stop worrying about how much you work and just work. You may not, you may lose a little sleep, but it'll be worth it sometimes, for you to invest in you, which means working a little harder for a period of time, a season.
And sometimes that's what you have to do. You're going to have to work more than you're comfortable with, and you may have to see a little bit less of your family. But, like, Paula just said, that's a season. That's not your entire life. Work
Right.
hard for a season so that way you may live like nobody else later on.
Right, right. And be willing, and I don't want to get stuck here, but be willing to allow it to happen, because a lot of people, myself included, I'm trying to focus on the side hustle, and someone's, getting too much, too needy. My goodness, I want to just say the word. And they're so needy until you can't even focus. You're like, wait a minute. I'm trying to do something here. So you really have to get on the same page.
You're
You
right. And
really have to get on the same page.
it's funny you say that because me and my husband we're trying to save up for a house, and with interest rate right now, it's going to double our mortgage. And he found a side hustle, and I was being selfish. I'm like, they want you to work how many days? And I
See?
had to take a step back. I'm like, you know what? Call them. Let's see what they have to offer. And let me get out of your way because you're wanting to work towards a goal that we both want. And for a moment, I almost tripped us both up from being selfish because I enjoy having him home with me on, certain days.
Absolutely. And it's a sacrifice. We don't want to downplay the fact that it is a sacrifice. It
Right.
is because you're accustomed to him being there, and and however, if this one particular move, and I've been there, can help you reach that goal that you've agreed on, then what you'll try to do is, try to hang out with me or whatever during the time when he's, working, or find you a side hustle. I don't know if or find something to do so that,
Great.
you're constantly supporting the goal. I've always wanted, just to be personal, I know we're getting closer to, I've always wanted someone to support me when I was working really hard. I used to have a job where of course, I was salaried, so I could work as many hours as I wanted and still get the same salary.
Oh, those aren't the
So
best.
those days, sometimes because we were a startup company, some weeks were long. We had to
Hmm.
develop relationships. But the developing the relationships and the long hours were all meant to have a future goal, to meet a future goal.
Right.
And sometimes people have an issue with you not being there. Let's just get real. I love the fact that you were willing to talk about it and just be honest,
Hmm.
because you want you to reach this other goal, and it's going to take, that's one thing,
Sacrifice.
it's going
It's
to
going
take
to
a
take
little sacrifice, not forever.
no.
Not forever, but just for a period of time. And then you'll be so happy you'll be able to celebrate the milestones, be able to celebrate later.
This is true. Yes, I get, what I want then.
Absolutely,
Move on.
absolutely. And I think if I want to put a pin in it, I know it's 7:41. We're trying to get out of here. But you just stepped on my toe. Many, many, many times, and I'm looking in the camera, many, many times you get discouraged because it's hard to make that change
It is.
smoothly. It is hard to say, oh my God, I'm working from this time to this time, and then I'm going to get off, and on these days I got to continue to work from this time to this time. That's a tremendous effort on your part.
Hmm.
And then you have to put all of that energy into the second job, and then you have to come home and do the 50 chores that you have always done, and don't want to sleep. You want to sleep, somebody's like, wake up, wake up, wake up. So it's really a sacrifice, and it has to be supported, and I'm glad that you support him.
Yes. You have to, like you said, we have to have those long term goals, and it has to be something you're doing together. And it's something we're both going to be able to celebrate.
Absolutely,
So
it's going to
you
be
have to have
amazing.
something to look forward to, I want to say, in life. Because if not, what's the point?
And that is probably one of the greatest examples that we've used on this show. With, look, it's going to take a plan, and we're going to work together. It's very stressful when the person who's trying to work towards the
Hmm.
goal and made a decision, when they're worried about what the other person is going to do, what they're going to say, and
Agreed.
you can't turn your phone off because it's just texting you every 2 minutes, and you're trying to concentrate. You know what I'm saying. So
Agreed.
I'm so happy that we're talking about this, because it is a sacrifice. So kudos to you for supporting him. Kudos to him for wanting to do it.
I agree.
He
Yes.
loves you enough. You love him enough. Okay, that's my soapbox. I've said,
It's
bam.
the month of love.
The month of
We squeezed
love.
it in right at the end.
Squeeze it in at the end. This is the very last Wednesday of February. However, this is not the last time we're going to talk finances.
No.
We've agreed to continue this conversation once a month, and we have tons of things to discuss. However, I just want to say thank you, Noel, and this month I think we've really set the stage to look at all the different types of love.
Yes.
I can't even tell you which show touched me the most, because you took me back down memory lane.
Oh,
um, when we were talking about love and endurance, we were talking about love and finances, and we started last week. It allowed me to say, "Oh gosh, look how far we've come! Look how far we've come, Noel. We worked hard in our lives to get here."
we have you and I on this show. I
We
love
worked
it. I
hard
love
talking
every
about,
minute of it though, but
yeah. When we were talking about finances, when we would tell our personal stories, I'm like, oh man, that brought back a memory. But look how far I've grown
Mhm.
since then. Now I will tell you, once I hear, something that I don't want to hear, I'm very quick to say to myself, listen with all your ears and all your senses, because this person could be telling you something that's going to really impact you in the future.
Yes.
And my money is kind of important to me. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. So this is it. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you, and I hope that there was something that we've said this month. Even when we talked about my book, it's the anniversary of my book.
Mhm.
That's another conversation. That's another side hustle for me. You see what happens? We have opportunities of a lifetime, but when we do it in love, love is great,
Oh, oh
and love
yes.
is powerful, and it just propels us to the place where we need to be if we could just learn to embrace it, especially in our finances, embrace it in our family, embrace it in ourselves. Don't forget the self-love. That's important.
Agreed.
There's enough love to go around where you can have love show up in every aspect of your life, and it's cool, right, Noel?
Absolutely.
All right, so this train was moving a little fast down the track, so I guess I'm going to have to bring it in, because love is one of my favorite conversations to have, and there's so many people that have been inspirational to me, and I'm sure to you, in the way they love, even when they had nothing.
This is true. It's the ones who
Okay.
have nothing who always, I think, try to give the most.
Yes, and they're so creative with it. And I
Mhm.
go, wow, I never would have thought of that. But they were placed in a situation where they had to be. So I feel great. I'm feeling good. Okay, so the power transformation train is getting ready to make its turn to go back into the station. We've learned a lot. We're feeling loved. Love and finances, it's just kind of flowing through our minds right now. So I'm feeling really happy about what we're trying to accomplish. However, we're going to have to, pump the brakes and bring it in. And we're going to have to say what we say every week. We tell you that the Power of Transformation broadcast is based on an excerpt from Romans 12 and 2, where it says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So, as we've been talking all month, especially tonight, there's some transformation of your mind, which means changing. That's going to happen, but give it a chance. Give love a chance. Now I'm pumping the brakes. And guess what? We're going to see you next week. You have to trust the process. And we're going to see you next week. Take care. Take care. Anything else you want to say, Noel?
That
All right. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.